I'm not crazy surprised. The one thing about the Titans and Will Levis that kind of mixes is that he has that cannon. So when you've got a guy like Derrick Henry in the backfield and you've got these 8, 9 man stack boxes and you're getting these one-on-ones with DeAndre Hopkins and a big boy Treylon Burks and this guy's being able to push the ball downfield, with enough time. He doesn't have to necessarily be crazy great. He's handing the ball off, maybe getting some play action going and chucking the ball downfield. I think it kind of mixes decently well. Like I kind of like it. I'm not like a huge crazy Will Levis fan, but I just think that what he's going to be forced to do or asked to do kind of does mix kind of well with, with Derrick Henry back there and some of the defenses that he's going to be probably seeing as far as stacking the box. Or if they don't stack the box, then now you got Derrick Henry rolling. So it's kind of, it's kind of what they do on offense, right? Tannehill wasn't great, but can you control the offense and then throw those bombs and take those chances when you can? I think I like it.
He definitely fits, right? He definitely fits, but you still got to be smart when you're throwing those bombs. He has to process and things like that. But what he does have going for him is that he can probably throw it out of the stadium if he needs to, right? So, but you got to be smart when you're taking those shots because you can't just be turning the ball over.
He was basically in Superflex, either like a late first, early second, depending on your league, right? That's what he was basically coming into the season and in rookie drafts. So what is he worth now? Is it the same, relatively the same? And are we buying? Hammer, I'll let you take it first. What do you think?
I think if you can get him for an early second, I'd be comfortable with that. The problem is that we just don't know what his job security will be, right? Like if he struggles or whatever, and they decide to kind of do that 50-50 nonsense with Malik Willis. Obviously, I don't think Ryan Tannehill is going to be around much longer in Tennessee. So I have to see a little bit more on him. But listen, if I'm a contending team and I have Kirk Cousins and he went down and I'm looking out there and I can get my hands on a Will Levis because he's somebody's fourth quarterback, I think you could take the chance on the upside based on what we saw last week. Now I do think there's going to be some struggles. He's going to have to adjust to these defenses like we talked about, whether it's the blitz or just dropping back in zone coverage. But if I'm desperate, I wouldn't mind taking it, especially if I'm a contender and I kind of need somebody in that super flex spot. So a second somewhere in there, I think is worth it at this point.
But I think before you go on, I think the second is you can't do it with the second. I don't think that's possible because somebody either got him with a late first or an early second, and now he's actually playing and he just threw 4 tutties. So you're not getting them for just a second or possibly not even a late first. You might have to spend more than that. Are you okay with doing that?
No, then I'd rather package a first and something else and go get a more stable situation. Right.
Exactly.
I would offer, like I said, if I had an early to mid round second, I'd offer that. If the person said no, fine, let him sit on your bench and you're not going to get anything from me. Right. Because like I said, he's probably somebody's third or fourth quarterback, most likely fourth, but probably somebody's third or fourth quarterback. So because he wasn't even the starting quarterback going into this season. So at the end of the day, he's sitting on somebody's bench he's probably never playing on that person's team. So they're more apt to potentially get something for him at this point, right? And we don't even know what his future holds. So at this point, a second or early second is probably what they're going to get. If they're asking for a late first, I'd rather package that with something else and go get, somebody that we talked about, Sam Howell.
Yeah,
and I ain't spending that on Sam Howell.
And I understand. I'm just saying, if I'm desperate, people are going to tax me, right?
Yeah, but also Sam Howell has the security right now a little bit, more than because if Will Levis knocks it out the park, that's the only way he gets to start the rest of the season. He cannot make any mistakes because even if he's up and down, they're going to go back to Tannehill, because Tannehill's the veteran or whatever the case is. And that's just what they're going to do. They're going to let Tannehill finish out the season. And then, they'll give Levis the keys next year. So Levis has to knock it out the park these next couple of games for them to even keep Tannehill on the bench. He has to go on a winning streak right here. Thursday's the start of it. I would buy Levis right now just because after this year, he's probably going to be the starting quarterback.
Like we said, it might cost a late first plus. What if it's a late first and a second?
I'd probably give a late first and a third. I think a late first and a second, because like it's one game. Like, let's not overreact. All right. I'm not paying for one game because I don't know what's down the line, what's going to happen. Now, if he was the starting quarterback for the rest of the way, if Tannehill had tore his Achilles, then all right, maybe I'll throw you a late first and a second, whatever. But if I throw you a late first or 2 firsts or a late first and a second, and fucking God doesn't finish the season, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, fuck. Now I'm back to where I am. I'm back to looking for a quarterback, and I don't have the assets to do it now because I spent it on Will Levis. So his situation has to be a little bit more clear. I'm not overreacting like Polish said. You don't want to take my second? Well,
let him sit on your bench.
Let him sit there, and maybe he plays, and maybe he doesn't.
I mean, he might be the future, but I don't know if I'm willing to pay.
I don't know if the future's right now.
Paying that. Yeah, I'm not paying that price right now. Like, yes. I'll buy back in when maybe we know for sure, and pay for him at that time. But as of right now, I don't think I can pay more than
if he's
an early second or that late first. For that, I don't even think I wouldn't even give up the late first, to be honest.
And if he's good, I'll be happy to pay that, right?
Yeah.
I'll be happy to pay your price if he's good. But I have to know that he's going to start the rest of the season. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. He has to be the quarterback.